efficacy. And here, our first insight is that the confidence on the reduction depends on the collective body of evidence and the quality of the evidence. And the key word here is collective. So this collective body of evidence and the quality of evidence in particular depends on the scientific rigor and depends on clearly defined conditions of use. So once again, why are conditions of use important? Because they also contribute to how the evidence is built on efficacy, on the reductions. It's important to understand, once again, the collective. The reliable body of evidence is required for all additives, once again, regardless of where they come from, if they're synthetic or if they're made from natural extracts. So understanding the collective is one thing, but what about the elements of that collective body of evidence? The fifth insight is that all study types play a role in evaluation, and therefore they all contribute to building that collective, and they contribute in different ways. So I took here an element from human medicine where the term efficacy defines the expected effects of any intervention under ideal or control conditions, and the term effectiveness defines the expected effects, but under commercial real-world conditions. Usually the example or analogy that I use that is pretty fresh in all our minds is the COVID vaccine. Laboratories developed the COVID vaccine. They tested efficacy in laboratory conditions, but the true effectiveness of the vaccine wasn't really observed until the vaccine was deployed in real populations with all the dynamics that occur in those real populations. We have the same thing here. So now we have a simplified inverted pyramid, which basically says that randomized controlled trials are the keystone for any body of evidence because they provide the evidence basis for efficacy, and they also help define conditions of use. Laboratory studies are useful screening tools and also mechanistic tools to understand how the reduction works, and commercial field trials are the ones that provide the measure of effectiveness that is relatable on the expected response under commercial conditions. Finally, all of this information can be synthesized into meta-analyses that brings all of that information together. It's important, however, to understand that a meta-analysis conducted up here with weak elements down here is going to reflect the elements right here. So depending on the strength of the elements, the randomized control trials, the lab studies, and the commercial field trials, it's what the meta-analysis is going to contribute. And finally, the sixth insight is that revaluation must be ongoing because evidence builds all the time. And so it's not a one and done deal. It's something that needs to happen again and again and again, particularly because as evaluation grows, not surprisingly, recommendations will change. And so we need to be open to change as new science builds up. So all types of studies matter. Control trials, like I said, are the keystone because that's the basis for efficacy. But all type of trials matter because they contribute differently to the collective, which is what we are interested in. We need to repeat this. You know, it's not we do a study and we're done. We've got all the answers. The studies need to be conducted again and again and again until the collective gets better and better and better. And finally, a point that I want to point out is that most people within the value chain are not going to review the scientific evidence. So we got to figure out a way to communicate that collective to those folks so that they understand that the efficacy is there, so that they understand that the effectiveness is there.